Today's podcast is sponsored by Fire Facilities Incorporated, expert engineers, designers, and manufacturers of steel training towers, burn rooms, and mobile units that are all made in the USA. Welcome back to 3-Point Firefighter. Today's guest is Devin Craig. Now, Devin is a 20-year veteran of the fire service, and he has been with the department north of Houston, Texas since 2003 and an officer there since 2007. He spent 7 years as a lead fire instructor at the largest fire academy in the nation. He's also a proud member of the Georgia Smoke Divers Association. Now, you probably know him from being one of the co-owners of Train or Die Fire Service Training. We'll get to talk to Devin here in a second. But before we get started, if you like the podcast and the YouTube channel, please do me a favor. Like and subscribe down below. It would really help me out. And with that, Devin Craig. In this one for you because this is a brand new studio for me. I'm trying to, get better at my gig. So you're my first guest in my new studio. So that's number one. And number two might be a Texas thing, right? So I started off as a firefighter in Texas, but I've had Jacob Johnson on the show and he covers south of Houston. I got you on the show that covers north of Houston, and Mo Davis has said he's going to be on the show. So I think I'll have all the Texans I'll need after I get Mo Davis.
It's a big state, man. I mean, you got just the small. It's big. Houston's big. You got that small area, but there's some good dudes up north in the rich area. So,
well, cool. So let me ask you something. Tell me how you got into the fire service up to where you're at today. Like, what made you want to be a firefighter?
So my father's a fireman. Dad became a volunteer when I was 4. So my first impression of the fire station was wrapped in a blanket. My mom and dad were eating dinner and my dad's pager went off. So my dad went to the house fire. His first fire he ever went to. It went great. He had fun, loved it. But what he didn't talk to my mom about was that if he ever left for a fire, it was going to be gone for a while. Now, this was 1988. Well, he didn't come back in 30 minutes to an hour. So she thought he was dead. So she wrapped my 4-year-old self in a blanket at 9 o'clock at night and took me to the fire station crying, wanting to know where my dad was. Welcome to the fire service. So from then on, I spent my younger days going to the fire station with Dad for meeting nights and whatnot. And then later, my dad became a professional fireman. I went to the station with him, and I'm an only child. So the guys I hung out with at the fire station were my big brothers. And forever, I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to do something different. And within 3 days of turning 16 and being old enough to volunteer officially, I did. And then I went to the fire academy and started working down the street, and the rest is history. Dad's still he's a deputy chief of training at the fire department next to me. Mm-hmm. We bucked out and made a couple fires together when he was still in the truck. So it's been good. It's been good.
Does he correct some of your procedures and tactics, or do you correct his?
No, we have a very, very fine line in the sand that we don't talk about certain things. He and I talk about fire trucks and everything else, but tactics, I'm the wild one to it, and he's the little more reserved chief way of it. Right. And we get along great with it. So yeah. So, now I can tell you, we did make a good fire together years ago when he was working a side job at a fire department. And he made a little box of me in the morning. I jacked with him, and later we made a 2-alarm apartment fire together. He was on the front, I was on the back, and my mom got to hear both sides of it. And it was a lot of, I went through 2 bottles. You went through 1, old man. And that kind of stuff. No.
I can just see like Thanksgiving dinner, like him saying it's VEIS. You're like VES.
Oh, no, we don't know. And there is nothing that we disagree on, honestly, that would be. Now, if we said that, we'd be fisticuffs. But we agree it's both VES, and it's very simple. So, but no, we get along real good with it. And it's been a passion. My poor wife has learned through the years, goofy fireman things like what day is Christmas? Mm-hmm. It's not Christmas Day. It's whatever day we're all off. Right. And then he's adapted now to, like, when we go on vacation, the same thing my dad did. Me and my son go to the local fire station for the day. Drive over, knock on the door. Hey, we're from Texas. Can we see your fire truck? And I drag my kid around and look at cool stuff. I did that my entire growing up. My dad knocked on every door from Salt Lake City to FDNY. Hey, can you see your truck? And then we'd walk in and start talking shop with guys.
Oh, that's cool.
It's been great. We have I've learned so many things from so tiny places in the country you never would have thought of. To, hey, why do you have your helmet like that? Or hey, man, what's up with this truck? And you get great stories and great things out of it.
I imagine you learned a few things you can take back to your department too.
We did, and we learned really early that when you take stuff back, you have to learn how to say it. I learned. I went to FDNY Rescue 1. You don't go back and say FDNY Rescue 1 does it this way. That doesn't work. You talk about how it works better and what we could do. You know. But yeah.
Let me ask you this: how big is your department? How many stations do you have and how many people?
My station my department is 5 stations with 6 companies. And we run about 70 full-time guys. We run 21 full-time guys every day and 2 part-time guys extra that work somewhere else and they come help us. So about 23 dudes a day. So we're the average size fire department. Right. We weren't that big when I started there. When I started there, we were only 1 station, really.
So it's grown pretty good. Well, it's like Jacob Johnson said, Chief Johnson said that, Pearland took off and it's still taking off. It's that Houston cheddar, man, that Houston cheddar, huh?
It is. Houston and Texas and everything down here, we can't find enough firemen. We literally can't.
Really?
And they're paying good money for firemen. We cannot find enough firemen. Yeah, it's been nuts down here. And but before it was the oil. Now it seems to be the oil, and now it seems to be the politics too. Texas is more leave you alone kind of state. So it's
no.
Yeah.
See,
that's us.
When I lived in Texas, Uncle Sam said you need to live in Wichita Falls, which is North Texas. So a lot of people that I know from Texas are like, that's not Texas. That you got to go a lot further south from Texas.
No, you're way up there.
Yeah, I'm almost Oklahoma.
You're in the corner, man.
Yeah. I've always said if the United States is a human body, Texas would be, or not Texas, but Wichita Falls would be the asshole. It wasn't.
I bought a truck out there. It wasn't bad, but
it wasn't my favorite place. It wasn't. They could have assigned me to Hawaii or someplace cool, but no, I got Texas. Oh well. You said something earlier about being on Rescue 1, and that won't work here. But I've had this conversation quite a few times with guests on here where when I joined the fire service about 28 years ago, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have all these conferences, so everything pretty much came out of LA, Chicago, New York, and it just wasn't a good fit. But now with like train or die, right? You have tactics that are scalable for any size department, and take it or don't. But when I first got in, it wasn't like that. You read a Firehouse magazine. This is exactly how they do it. Vince Dunn says this is how it's done. You listen, right? Bruncini says this is how you do it. So it's actually, I think it's a great time in the fire service because we have so many micro conferences. Big shout out to North Florida Expo and my brother Nick Peppard. FDIC, not everybody can afford FDIC. Not everybody can get up there. That's an hour and a half north of me. But a lot of these micro conferences and people like you that travel around are able to bring that information hands-on at an extremely fair price, to teach brothers and sisters across the country.
And that's one of our biggest things is if you look at the firefighter rescue survey, FDNY, LA, Houston, they're doing good things, but they're not saving every person in that list that gets saved every day. There's places in the middle of nowhere, Texas, in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, that are pulling people out, and these guys need to have the same training. And understand too that when we teach Broken Bow, Oklahoma, they don't have 100 guys on a box. They don't have a dedicated rescue company. They don't have these certain things, but at the same time, they still need to do search. How do they do that in their scale? So when we teach stuff, that's a big thing to us. The first time we get there, we drive around, we check it out, we see what they have, and then we walk in and go, okay, cool. You don't have a VES ladder. We'll show you how to do it with a roof ladder, and things like that. And they still have to do the same job. Fire still has to go out with whatever nozzle they have, with whatever hose they have. People still have to be found. And just because they don't do it a certain way doesn't mean it's wrong. It's how they get by. And that's okay.
Right.
They're still doing the job. So yeah, and I remember starting in 2000, and you either read it in the magazine or that was it.
Yeah.
And even then, you didn't get anything else out of it. The only conferences out there were the big ones, and they were hard to go to. And even then, you didn't know a whole lot of it. And then you try to bring it back, and then you try to figure out how to scale, an LA strike team task force for your small department. You couldn't figure it out. So no, that's a big thing that we do. We're big on that for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about train or die. if tell me when I'm wrong, because if you don't, I'll get my wife down here. She always tells me when I'm wrong. Train or Die, you and a couple brothers local said, hey, let's start this group on Facebook just because we love training. We actually want to put our citizens first. We want to put our community first. And it went from there to where you are now. So tell me how that all came to be.
It was all a stroke of luck and nothing we attempted to do on purpose. So we started a Facebook group, me and three other guys who all worked at a fire academy. And mostly it was because we needed some training help. So we were trying to find classes, or we were trying to figure out stuff, and we weren't good enough with Facebook and the other big groups to understand how to search through them. So we started a little group, and it had like 20 guys, and we knew every dude, and it was great. And then next week it had 50. Next week it had 100, and we're going, wait a minute, what's going on here? And we realized that there was other people that were looking for classes or looking for a technique or trying to understand how to teach the new generation or whatever it is. And next thing you know, as of today, there's 7,300 people in it from the globe. I think I checked a guy in that's literally a Baghdad fireman, of all places. Everywhere you can imagine is in that group now, and it's the same thing. Just trying to learn more stuff. That transferred into the company, which was another whole story to it. The company was me and the same couple of guys were floating around going to conferences, helping dudes out. You know, we would go to a class and say, hey man, you know this, will you come help us? And we were standing in the back, being pallet throwers, loving it. And then when the guys would be the lead instructors, they would say, hey, we have 10 years experience, or we have 5 years experience. And that's great. And then they would look at us and go, how long y'all been in? 18 years as a paid guy, you know, and they're, what do you know, and they're like, what do you, and they would ask us questions, and we're like, yeah, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. And then next thing you know, we're standing in front of 50 people teaching class. And finally somebody goes, what are y'all doing? Oh, we're having fun. Why don't y'all go teach it yourself? To do it yourself. And we went, we don't know nothing. And then they go, wait a minute, how long you start asking, you go, oh yeah, maybe we know something. And that progressed to, hey man, me and another guy, Matt Wallace, convinced each other to go to the bank and sign an LLC, and the company was born. And here we are, driving around being firemen.
So how many days a year do you think you end up traveling?
So it's been a whirlwind. We didn't start the company till March, and we've only, between the classes that we have taught and the classes that we've gone to, because we still love to learn, in the classes that we get a phone call, we got a phone call from Kessinger from Citizens First. He said, hey man, will you help us do this class in Texas? He's from Ohio. We're from Texas, of course. It's doing stuff like that. I chalked it up last night. I've been gone 40 days this year.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere from Texas stuff to, I was in 7 different states. And again, some of those are taking stuff, some of those teaching stuff. And we've been on the road. And the running joke is we want to retire, buy a van, put a bunch of firemen in, drive around and teach conferences. and live a life, you know, and granted, we all have full-time jobs, we all have responsibilities at home that we're more apt to do. But yeah, that's it. So 40 days this year. I was gone 30 days last year.
So you just started in March, and during COVID and all this, you said, you know what, now's a good time to start a business.
And again, you know, my wife, being the college graduate and being smarter than I am, is, you know, in the back going, hey, you know, you sure? And we're firemen, so send it at all times. Let's just go. and yeah, we did a class in Oklahoma. We did a couple classes down here in Texas. We got stuff slated throughout next year already. And it's there's 4 guys that do it. And all of us have full-time fire jobs. So we're all balancing stuff that's right. But all of us are the same guys that don't, I duck hunted until my kids were born. Now I teach training stuff. That's what we do on the side. That's what our hobby is. So it's been fun.
Do you think it's and I ask everybody this, do you think it's any different teaching your own firefighters as opposed to teaching other firefighters?
Absolutely different. Absolutely different. For the big deal of, when I teach my guys, I know immediately if they're interacting well, if they understand what I'm telling them, if they think it's bullshit, and I can read them in a millisecond. I know what's going on. With people we don't know, we're the guys that walk up to you in the beginning and we're bullshitting with you. We're jacking with you. We're trying to see who's who, what the limits are, where we can go. And that takes time. And to figure that out. So my people, I know that immediately. With everybody else, I got to try to figure it out, which takes some time, you know, and people learn different ways, and we need to figure out what way transverses best to those guys.
Right.
And some it's visual, some it's talking. So with my guys, I know that.
I talked to Chief Brian Zeitz out of Kirkwood. He said that was it 500 miles in a briefcase makes you an expert, 5 miles in a white helmet makes you an idiot.
And it's funny how that is. And you remember the old days, it's the same thing with fire jobs. You didn't know anything around you. It was it. If it wasn't in the magazine, you didn't know what Dallas was doing or anybody else. And now, if I see a video of something, I probably know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody, and I can find out immediately. And that's been the great thing of it, is the ability to transfer that information. The downside of that is there's some guys that are Facebook qualified. and you have to wonder, hey, how does this guy know this, you know?
Right.
But if you notice, if you look at the conferences and you look at the classes, it's usually the same 100 to 150 dudes.
Froze completely right after conferences are 150 dudes, which now that I say that out loud, that sounds kind of weird. Fire conferences with around 150 dudes. So I'm sorry. What'd you say after that?
So now it's those same guys. So those
Right.
same 150 guys are teaching this, they're spreading that good stuff. And we know that's verified, validated stuff. And it's
Right.
good. You don't see that, you don't go to every conference to see all brand new people. You see a few new people each time. And that's just adding to the fold of that. But with the internet, there's some guys that are geniuses overnight. And we've had a couple run-ins with some of these guys who, you know, in a department with 2 stations, they had 5 Maydays last year. What? Hold on, man. We got to talk, you know, and the internet's been great for that. It's been different too, you know, and we have a big breeding in fire service instruction on the fire academy side. So we're used to teaching guys from 19 to, we had a guy that was 76 in fire academy we did one time. So we understand that difference too of what it takes to teach these young guys and the differences they have.
So yeah, that's
And
the
yeah,
conversation I have
yeah.
is about, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, brother. What was that?
The guy was 67. I'm sorry. We had a 67-year-old fire cadet one time.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's impressive. Oh, one of my favorite websites for instructors is Aaron Field's Nozzle Forward, because if you go to his cadre and read their descriptions, it's kind of funny. You know, he has a lot of fun. And that's been pretty much my favorite one for a little joke and everything. That was until, of course, I saw Trainer Die. Is it trainerdie.com?
Oh, it's Trainer Die TX.
My first question, and I cannot wait to ask you this because I can't wait. I hope the answer is as good as the question. The hell's up with the kid smoking next to a chicken?
So going on what we just talked about, my buddy Wallace, he likes to say, be legit. So be who you are. So we were talking fireman trash back and forth to each other, and he found that picture. And to be honest, we don't know anything about it. But there's a 5-6-year-old kid smoking a cigarette, sitting down next to a chicken. That's your rooster. Like, what? Wow. You know, and it worked. And we may make that a t-shirt one day with be legit underneath it.
Oh, that'd be perfect. I saw that, and I tried to use my firefighter brain and say, okay, there's a message here. And I was like, the smoking, maybe the kids, the fire, then the chicken, maybe people are afraid. So it just turns out it's just nonsense.
It's the most legit thing we could find.
Another thing I like about it is, and when does product ship according to your website?
And they ship on B shift because we're firemen, and B shift's our day off. So there you go. And I say that it was a joke, and because when we didn't want to sell stuff, but we got to pay for gas. So when we put stuff out, I would have 10 orders in an hour. Oh, hold up. First off, I only had 10 things, so we're sold out now. And 2, I'm at work, and I work 4896. So these guys aren't going to get this for a couple of days. So we were trying to get that out that, hey, look, man, we're doing the best we can, but we're not Amazon. We're not Prime on this. And it's funny because yesterday I did 15 orders. Some of those were before Christmas. I felt really bad, but there was an order that was done while I was doing the orders. So while one guy took 6 days to get his sent, another guy took about 5 minutes. So somebody thinks we're okay. Somebody thinks we're the greatest ever.
Someone's not that happy.
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is, man. It's fire service. I mean, we might be at work for 4 or 5 days, or out of town or something, and I'd love to send you everything you buy now. You know, I got life.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your wife had a degree, but according to your website, you have a bachelor's.
Oh yeah, no, I do. Yeah, we're the biggest shit talking people you'll probably meet. But it's all in jest. You know, I mean, look at this. I mean, come on. I'm a great ginger haired dude. You know, left-handed. You know, from Texas. You know, and we get it, and that's us. So growing up in a fire station, that's what you learn. You know, and that was the way we got rapport with guys and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh, people have got to check the site out. It's got a lot of great stuff too. Don't get me wrong, not just funny stuff, but the funny stuff just had me rolling. Especially the Bachelor of Sarcasm and, you know, and shit talking. I love that. And I'm a little disappointed myself with the smoking kid and the chicken. I really thought too hard on that one.
We'll have to make something up. It'll be a good fire station thing. Nobody knows, so we'll make up a good story.
That's what you should do. Let me ask you this. So your big logo is a snake cut into pieces. What is that about?
So part of that, so there's 2 ways to look at this. I'm gonna tell you the fire station rumor. The fire station rumor is it's different parts of the fire service working together. So whether it be rescue, search, whatnot, it's different guys working together to make the snake, to put it out there, to get the job done. That's the rumor. And if we weren't honest people, that's what we would tell you and tell you that's it. The truth is, we went to a class, myself and Wallace, Mark Von, who we love, and he had that excellence is my responsibility. And we came back fully ramped. Matt's in his department doing it. I'm in my department doing it. We're going to get this sign made, and the guys are going to sign it. We're going to be the greatest guys ever. So I pulled it up, and I got it on my screen at the station, and one of our drivers walks in and looks at it. And this guy's younger. He's probably 25, and he looks at it and goes, "What's that gay shit?" Oh no, like, dude. So we tell him the whole thing, and he's like, "Yeah, okay." And we really were heartbroken and thought, well, you know, if the guy won't buy into that, hold on. He just thought it looked lame. Yeah. So literally, I'm pulling up computer things and trying to find something that he would think would be appropriate. And we found Benjamin Franklin's Join or Die. Yeah, looks really similar. And then with some excellent Microsoft Paint skills, I marked out the joint. And then because we had more guys on shift than where the snake was cut up into, we cut it up in more pieces. And then we put everybody's initial by the piece. And I showed to him, and loved it. He loved it. And then, you know, you get one guy that loves it, you get an ambassador, he spread it out, and the guys on shift loved it. And that's where it came from. And then fast forward to 2 or 3 months later, in the middle of the night, we're trying to make a Facebook group, and we don't have a picture, and we didn't want to use our own fire department. So ta-da, there we go. Look at the snake logo I got. And next thing you know,
it's taken off quite a bit.
Yeah, now there's a flag. It's an LLC. It's on a helmet front. We put on a damn hat, you know, and we started noticing that people believed and liked it. And we like it too. So why not?
It couldn't be a simpler. It must be you Texas boys. That's one thing I can figure, because you look at Jacob Johnson, Chief Johnson. What's his logo? You know, do your damn job. And then your guys is just as impactful and simple. Train or die.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, you're either going to do it or you're not. And 3 o'clock in the morning, when it's in here, it's going to be hot as hell, and you just woke up and you're trying to figure out what to do, and mom's screaming about where's my baby. That's not the time to figure things out. You have to be able to do that, and you've had to practice that and train for that days, years, times before. So it worked out, and yeah, that's how we got it.
It's hard for me sometimes to stress the importance to some firefighters about the importance of reps, sets and reps. You know, I'm the training officer for my department, and I always start off most trainings with, you know, if you take this class today and then don't do it again, this is just going to be basically a waste of your time. You know, I'm showing you something that I hope that you can take work on, maybe make it better, whatever. But it's that set and reps mindset you got to get into. That's the only way that you're going to get all this stuff in there, in my opinion.
Right. And we learned a lot with teaching brand new kids that while we want to be in full gear and air pack, at the end, in the beginning, nothing. Let's do it street boots and let's talk about this. And then let's put bunker pants on. And then let's slowly increment these things. And next thing you know, if you go from street boots to bunker gear, you ended up doing about 10 sets. And next thing you know, this isn't hard. You're not freaking a guy out. You know, you don't go from talking about it to putting on a mask and now you're doing it. Wait a minute, that guy's only worn a mask 3 times. He doesn't understand what's going on, and his body can't mentally handle that. So the reps are key, you know, and we're the same way. We're going to show you this one time, and that's not it. You're going to have to figure out how it works for your body. People have different body mechanics, different functions, different things that changes for them, and figure out how it works for you. And there is no one size fits all training. There's no one way for everybody. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, and that's okay. That's good. As long as we're doing getting the same job done. We're still searching the house aggressively. We're still getting the fire out aggressively. Cool. If you need to crawl, and we'll show you how to crawl. If you need to stand up because you can't crawl, okay, we need to figure out how to get you to crawl.
Right.
But there, you know, we had a 50-year-old guy with a bad knee. He said, my left knee's bad. I can't kneel down on that left knee. Okay, cool. Let's kneel on your right knee then, you know, and make this work. So yeah, and then just ton of reps, getting used to it. Your body moves a certain way because that's what you're used to doing. So we tell people that by the end of it, what we need you to be able to do is do it like you're putting your shoes on. I don't look at my shoes to know which one's left and right. I can tell by feel. I don't look down at them. I slap them on, unless I was having my shoulder surgery, and it's done. It needs to be the same way when you're reaching for your tools, when you're putting your air pack on and whatnot. And there's as instructors, there's ways to see that. If a guy's wearing a Scott air pack and it's in full alert and he's jumping up and down or shaking left and right, bro, you ain't got it. We need to talk about this, you know, and that goes back to what you said about your guys versus everybody else's guys. When we meet somebody new, we don't know what they know. Cool. So we're going to start as basic as we can and get to the hard stuff.
It was that way for me when I had to switch from crawling to like a tripod position for a better search. It was really difficult for me because 20 plus years I was, you know, like a baby, right? Because that's the only way to do it. And then somebody showed me something new and I'm like, this is really difficult, but I know this is absolutely the best. So I just had to keep trying and trying. You know, I would do it at first. I would do it around the firehouse and nobody was looking. I would just kind of get down and start pushing myself around and everything. And then put on, to your point, you know, the crawl, walk, run approach to it. But it's that sets and reps. You got to get it to where, you know, you can, like you said, you can grab the right shoe without even looking at it, just by feel.
Yeah. And we firmly believe in crawl, walk, run, walk a little more. There's no reason that it has to be done in a short amount of steps. If you don't get it, let's stop. And we learned really hard that if we missed something simple in the beginning, you couldn't teach that in live fire. You couldn't teach that under high stress. And if you were slow and deliberate in the beginning, it worked a whole lot better.
Right.
And it's just takes more time, which is hard, you know, but it gets it better to the student, and the student mastering is what you want to get, you know, and whatever that takes. We teach people when we teach search. We're teaching you in a burn building. Hey, why don't we go do it in your own fire station? Do it in your own house. You want to know how to crawl, how to grab kids? Go grab your kid. There you go. That's how you learn, you know. And you don't need, granted, there's some awesome fire training facilities out there, but in the end, you're searching your own house, right? Just search what's your house look like? You know, and especially now with the kids we have, and I say kids because they're younger than me because they're getting old, but young guys don't understand simple things like your kid's room. They think a kid's room is clean, right? It's just got a kid and some toys in there, right? No, my daughter's full-size bed has 15 stuffed animals on it. This is what this looks like, and this is what you have, and teaching them those things. And that goes for everything from searching to thermal imaging cameras to all this stuff. There's nothing magical about it. Do what you do in your own home and you'll learn stuff.
So is what you teach more basic oriented, or is it more advanced based on what you've learned throughout your career, or is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. We got some awesome ways to drag people that were taught by us from some good friends. We got some awesome ways to get firemen out. And in the end, we would love to teach you the highest stuff that we know. And we got a lot of that stuff from where we've been. So, but when we walk into a fire station, we promote teaching search and teaching truck tactics and teaching vertical ventilation and things like that are a little bit harder to teach if you don't know them. So fire hoses is good, and teaching attack packages is good, and teaching that stuff is getting pretty widely known out there. But at the same time, that house has to be searched, and dragging the hose line around the house isn't the best way to do that. So let's show you a way to do that without that, whether it be there's 4 on a rig or 2. We taught guys with 2 guys on a rig, literally a fire department that one guy drove the truck to the fire and then everybody else just shows up. And everybody else means 2 other guys. Okay, you know what we're gonna teach you? BES. And we're gonna teach you how to do that with 2 people. Watch this. And getting that through there. So we teach everything from dragging a down fireman to dragging a 400-pound guy as basic as possible. And then you get to the fun stuff, you know, and in the end, the cool stuff that we've taken or the classes that we've done before, whether it be confined space or man the machine stuff, is awesome. But at the same time, you're going to do that maybe once a year, but 10 times out of the year, you need to search your house. So let's get that down right and better ways to do it.
Well,
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
We have a small realm of things, and our deal, you see it on the website. If we don't know that realm, we know people that do, and we know some of the best in the country, and we're going to go, hey man, let me hook you up with this guy, and he's gonna line you up.
I have that in my notes, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's one of those things that true firefighters, in my opinion, which I'm very fortunate to get to talk to a lot of them, are all about the service, the industry, the citizens, the community. Okay. And so I want to read this off your website real quick. So you have, first off, you have 4, 8, or 16-hour hands-on classes, okay, that can be merged or scaled: ground ladder search, truck ops without a truck, firefighter rescue, victim rescue, forcible entry, and they have a mobile forcible entry door. And that's a lot right there. That is a lot just to scale for 4, 18, or 16 hours, right? But then you got classroom sessions on better training for better firefighters, A to Z, from lazy to leader, which probably would describe me a little bit, 12 steps for a better crew. Training is education, how to go from training school to education. So I'm reading this and I'm like, that is a lot of great information. It's a lot of down and dirty stuff that people need. But at the very end, this is what got me. And I was just like, dude, my boy, if there's something we do not feel confident enough that we can provide you the best option available, we will guide you to a training company that can. That's right. If we can't do it, we will hook you up with someone else. We want you to get the best training possible. That just almost took the wind out of me. I'm like, you know what? This is a business. You got to make money because you're using your PTO. You got to drive places. You got to fly places. And I saw that and I was like, man, that's brotherhood. That is absolute, without a doubt, brotherhood. Good on you, Devin Craig.
So we talked a little bit how we started. One of the things we did before we started was we called every guy we knew. We called every guy we knew that had a company. And luckily through our travels, we met a lot of good dudes. And we said, hey man, I'm thinking about starting it. Yeah, idiot, do it. You know, and everybody, we had a very good mentor of us tell us, literally send it. He said, do it. We need more people out there doing it that are doing a good job. And then we wrote those dudes down. And right now, if you were to ask me for certain classes, I'm going to go, man, that's not us, but I know the best guy that does it. And that's a big deal to us because we don't want to come in there and fake something to you. We're going to do it to our ability. And if we can't do it, we know somebody that's better than us. And in the end, it doesn't matter about how much money we make. We need to make money to keep mama happy.
Right.
But if you need a class, me going in there and filtering through it doesn't work. It doesn't help the person that needs to help. So we need you to be the best you can possibly be. So for certain things, those are the dudes to call. So yeah, and I'm looking at every Taylor's 10 I have, all the guys that have helped us and whatnot. And all the other stuff is buried in my garage here. It's got somebody else's name on it for some other company.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on just the podcast, get on the YouTube channel and look at Devin's his studio. It's quite impressive.
It's a workshop. It's a workshop. Yeah, so we have a cooler that we were blessed with. My father had us a train or die cooler made, which is pretty cool. It's got our logo on top. Well, on the bottom of that cooler, it's going to be every sticker from every company that we know that are vetted good people. And we're going to put that all the way around it. And that's going to go with us everywhere we go. And that's going to be it. We're going to go teach you a class on VES, and you're going to ask me for something else. I'm going to tell you, hey man, call this guy, or we know a guy that sells tools at a good price. We're a big backer and love Fireball, and the stuff that he has done for us. So, and the stuff that he's done for the fire service, not specifically for us, but to have somebody come out with a new tool and try it and vet it and make it work for firemen is amazing. We met John Lockwood somewhere. We met some other people, and we were like, you invented this? This is hard. We're doing easy stuff. Yeah. You're doing hard things, and you should get recognized for that. And things that are making the fire service better for the citizen need to get put back out there. So yeah. So no, that was a big part of that part of the Facebook or part of the website. And yeah, the classes are all scalable because if we teach a search class for 20 people, it's going to be different for 20 versus 10 and whatnot.
That's good. That's amazing. And it goes right back to what we were talking about. You didn't have that kind of choice, 15, 20 years ago, and I think that's amazing because like you said, not everything New York does will fit, right. Oxbow, Oklahoma, or whatever you said. There's a lot on there too, your website too. Is it poetry? Is that poetry I'm reading on your post on some of your blogs?
No, it's not.
It looks like free verse poetry. I was like, wait a minute, is he hitting me up with some poetry?
No, I don't know if I want people to think I'm a poet. Jesus. Oh,
well, the way the way it's written, it looks just like that, and I was like, it ain't rhyming, but it looks like the free verse poetry to me.
We write things, and we haven't because of Christmas, about every 2 or 3 days, and most of that is just what's going on in here, and if you meet me and Wallace, we're the guys that you don't give energy drinks to. You don't want us to be any more amped up than we are. I mean, if we're doing live fire, we're jumping up and down. We're those people. We're running around. We're crazy. So these things are going around in my brain, and I started typing them out. So by typing them out, it became a release for things that I thought made sense to me. And then it turned into like this. We posted it, and then next thing you know, 25,000 people looked at it. Oh, amazing. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We had one that I wish I understood that stuff better because it went to 1 million people. We have no idea how. We don't know why. It was a rambling from a frustration that I had. And there you go. Okay, good. Somebody else believes it too. Okay, cool. So no, it's not. My English teacher might like the fact you taught poetry, but it's not.
So you got the Smoke Divers shirt on. Tell me about that. Tell me about that program. How many days? How hard is it? All that stuff.
Smoke Diver is a 6-day program. There's 3 that are affiliated, but a 6-day program that does the hardest stuff possible at high stress, meaning they're going to put you under high stress in a healthy, effective way and have you operate. And you're going to do things on the fire ground that you would have to do in as best environment as possible. So it's 6 days, and each day is a little bit different, but each day begins with, for the most part, PT, and you do PT in full bunker gear. You do an obstacle course, you go run, and then you do skills. So your body's already a little bit warm. And then you do skills in as realistic as possible. So when you drag victims, they weigh what victims weigh. The baby weighs 8 pounds, the toddler weighs 30, mom's 150, and dad's 300 pounds. Congratulations, welcome to the real world. And you do stuff like that all day for 6 days. The Georgia program had enough guys come in from Indiana to complete it, and they took it back to Indiana and have one there right outside of Indianapolis. Same thing happened in Oklahoma. They had enough guys from Oklahoma get through Georgia, and they took it back there. Those 3 programs are affiliated, meaning they had each the same pretty much curriculum in different locations. And then you have some other programs out there with the same name that teach a little different. So Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida all have programs, but they're not the same curriculum per se. They're all really, really good. And we know some awesome people from all of those places. But it's a little different. So Georgia, in Texas, we had a program that was 2 days that was about a 95% pass rate. We taught some good stuff. And then one day I completed that twice. everybody passed it. When I went to the second time, they asked me to come back and teach it. I came back and taught it. And then we taught a class, and these two guys from Georgia showed up with Georgia smoke diver rockers. We didn't know what that was. We didn't even know there was another class. And granted, this was in 2010 or 11. The internet still wasn't big then. And they told us there was a program in Georgia. And all the instructors that were there said, they sent some guys, we should send somebody. And then they did the old fireman turnaround. Oh, no, I'm the only guy here that's not older. And they sent me to it. They got me to go into it. And I went into it not knowing what it was. And I did what most people do when they go to it. They quit. And I quit on day one. In pure shock and awe, I go, oh, you got me. We're running. I don't run. And I think we're going to run about 25 miles because you got my brain locked in enough that we're going to. And I was awestruck. I was amazed by what it was. And then I went back in 17, made it halfway through and then failed out on a skill. And then I went back at the end of 17 and finished it. And it's difficult to describe, as you see what I'm saying, but it's got about a 50 to 80% fail rate. But everybody there that teaches it, everybody that's on that field with you has taken the class and passed it. So there's no, like when you're tired, they understand, they don't care. It doesn't matter. Mrs. Smith doesn't matter that you're tired, that you ran 20 EMS calls today. When she calls, you need to be the best you can. And there is the same way. So if you were to put every awesome dude that you know in a room and say, hey, we want you to teach a class, that's what it's like. So we joke because most people either ask us what it is and then are like, oh, that's dumb, or they go, when's the next class? And we have haters because of that. So we call it the old black hoodie cult because you have to wear a uniform when you're there. And it's a black hoodie, similar to what I'm wearing in the t-shirt. And I'm a big proponent of it because it changed my life. When I went in 2012, I thought I knew everything. I'd been a fire officer for a while. When I went to 17, I'm sure I knew everything. And these are things you don't say out loud, but you know. And you have guys like this in your own station that know everything, because if they weren't, they'd be training. And when I got there, I didn't know a damn thing. And it was amazing to me about how much I didn't know and how much I learned from regular old dudes that are anywhere from Atlanta to South Carolina were teaching me stuff, and I was amazed. And this was all vetted high level stuff.
How happy were you once you got that rocker?
I don't know. So I can describe it as this. I got done Friday. When we graduated, I didn't think it was over. I was that locked in that we're graduating and then we're going to go do burpees, whatever it was. And then I drove home, and I drove home straight to, it was around Thanksgiving, straight to Thanksgiving with my family, still wearing the same t-shirt that you get when you finish. And then Sunday I went to work. And my fire department is real strict on some stuff, but I wore a hoodie when I showed up to work. And about noon, my body relaxed and I couldn't walk. It had just and everybody happens different days. For me, it was about Wednesday night. Your body gets in this rhythm, but this is what I need to do. This is how it goes. The best thing about class is you have to eat 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day. I'm really good at that. But I tell you that because they track that, and I actually lost 9 pounds. Eating that much, doing that much work through the class. So yeah, and you said, how good did I feel? Well, my wife had told me when I went the last time that, and I went to Indiana in between there too and didn't make it, that, hey, look, you have spent $1,000 each one of these classes. The fire department helps you out here and there, but you're gone every time. This is a strain on the family. And when you don't get done, you come back and you sit in the woods by yourself and cry. So when you do this last time, you have to come back with a number. And so so every time I'm doing stuff, I'm like, man, I want to quit. Oh, I got to come back with a number. Life's gonna kill me, So yeah, I was real happy. That was the first phone call I made. Hey, babe, I passed. Good. Did you get a number? Yes. 987. Got it. Okay. All right. Cool. Come on. Yes, ma'am.
So you get a t-shirt or you get a divorce. Basically, that's it.
I didn't say that. And she's been my biggest proponent. And she was the one that, it takes 6-8 months to get ready for it. She was the one where, 5 months in, I'm not doing much stuff, and she's kicking. She's going, hey, get up, go do some stuff, So she was my biggest supporter for it as well. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Let's see here. Let me ask you this. So you do travel around and you go to a lot of these conferences. What is, out of all your travels, what's some of your favorite conferences and why?
Oh, wow.
Well, let me ask you, let me put it this
little-
way. Let's say you got Jake Barnes in Southern Indiana, doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of PTO. So I get to go to one conference a year and it's got, I got $500. I got 500 bones, buddy. Which one are you going to tell Jakey to go to?
Man, that's tough. That's tough because Orlando was amazing. I was amazed. I was awestruck the entire time I was there, and I'm excited I'm going back. Lake of the Ozarks was an awesome place. It was beautiful. It's first time in Missouri, so that was cool. And I got some good classes there. And Bears of the Oath has been a great one.
That's a big one. I hear that one a lot.
It's a good one, and it's not very expensive. Honestly, so we've had this discussion with some guys we know too. If you were to tell me what you just told me, the first thing I would say would be find a buddy. Because two things happen, and we try to promote this in our training in our department. If you can find a buddy to go with you, it gives you, when you get back, they can say, hey, look, how was the class? Well, if Devin Craig says it's great, whatever, he goes everywhere else. But if I say it's great and the guy I brought with me says it was great, now we're getting somewhere. And if you bring somebody with you, the rental car is cheaper, the gas is cheaper,
yeah,
hotel room is cheaper, and you get to split some of this cost. I went everywhere by myself, and for the most part, it was expensive, and that's hard. So, and trying to get the best bang for your buck. A good kid we know at a department in Central Texas got all the way to Ohio by himself. And we were amazed. Hey, man, great for you. But please find somebody else to go with you because it does all those good things for you. I would have to, man, Orlando would be good. North Florida, if Nick Pepper's doing it, it's good. Bears of the Oath has been really good to us, and we enjoyed that one. And that was a little more of a family one. Yeah. If you were in Southern Indiana, I'd probably tell you to go to FDIC, but
well, those FDIC can be pricey. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very good. But I know that, then you look at Nick Pepper's, and I apologize for not knowing his buddy's name that helps him run it. I don't want to throw him on the bus, but you're looking at what, $200 for 3 days of training. Right. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it.
And I'll tell you this, for me, if I'm looking at where I want to go, I look at who's teaching. And at this point, I could kind of pick out somebody I know, or I could kind of go, hey, look, there's 10 guys teaching. All 10 I've never heard of. That might not be bad, but I'm going to start asking around, who are these guys? And if I get the good old, hey, man, they're great, go to that, then yeah. If you look at it and I know 10 of the names and I know what's going on, this has got to be good. If these guys are in it, then it's going to be good.
Yeah. You said you liked Orlando. Have you taken some of Basil's classes?
So I met Basil in Orlando. Orlando was another. I have some really good luck. I got asked to go help another training company with some stuff in Orlando, and was doing the fireman thing. I was sitting there watching a burn thing, just living the dream, and got asked to help teach a class while I was sitting there.
While you were there?
While I was there, I was literally just hanging out under a canopy watching a burn deal, and I lucked out. One of the Orlando guys, I believe it was Nick DeVito, I didn't know, said, hey, man, will you come help teach this TIC class? You're Devin Craig, right? Yeah, that's me. You teach TIC class? Really? And, yeah, sure. Okay. And I met some good people with that. And then I ran into Basil through that. So I didn't get to take his class, but he and I have had a lot of talks. And Basil's one of the people that if you told me you want to go to a class on RIT, I'm looking for Basil's name. Yeah. And, okay, cool. You're going to be good then. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
He's definitely on the list. So.
Brother, I got to tell you what, I've really enjoyed our talk. You might be my favorite gray-haired ginger from Texas. But do me a favor. Why don't you tell us, the people that are listening here, how we can go to your website, buy your stuff, support the mission, and tell me where we're going to see you here in the future. So we might get tickets.
So the fastest way to find us is the old Facebook, and you can look up Devin Craig, or you can look up Train or Die. We have a page, and then we have the Train or Die discussion, which is the group. Either one of those, or our website is trainordie.tx.com. We have a contact form on there. If you fill that out, it'll get emailed to us, and we'll respond back to. On our website is also where we're going, what we have scheduled for forever, it seems. And we got some stuff going on in Texas this year. We got some stuff going on or in 2022, and some stuff in Oklahoma, I think, and a whirlwind. So the best schedule is on that. And if you were wanting to go to one of those, do that. We would much rather come to you. It's cheaper for us to come to you. We've learned that, and we can teach more people that way. To send a guy to a class is expensive between PTO and hotels and whatnot. To have 3 or 4 of us come in and teach a class for 2 days is much more cost effective. And I tell you that to tell you that we're cheap. We don't charge a lot because we want you to get the information, but we charge enough to keep mom and the kids happy, because while we're gone, they're taking care of everything. So, and we work with people on that. And we're the guys that, hey man, it's going to cost this much plus lodging. And hey, lodging could be the fire station. Cool, we're good with that, and we'll help out every we can, and still try to be okay on the way home. The stuff we sell is the same stuff. It all goes in the same account, and we take that money, and that money helps pay for diesel for the truck or wood for the prop or whatever, and food. We're the guys that if you told us that you could only do the class for this amount of money, we would try to get a guy up there and send him with a bologna sandwich in a sleep in a fire station so you can get the information. But yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, brother,
I gotta tell you about
Go
the
ahead.
beard though, because I'm sure everybody's looking at this going, look at this guy, he can't be anybody. So I had shoulder surgery this month, and for about the first time in years, I have a couple months off. So hey, this is pretty good. Where did that come from? Normally I'm really, really clean shaven because I work every damn day. So.
Well, I tell you, this time last year, I was recuperating from my shoulder surgery, and I let all my hair and beard grow unkept just until I had to go back to work. I'll send you a picture. It's pretty damn horrible. I mean, homeless people were looking at me going, Jesus, and giving me money. I looked rough.
Yeah, my 6-year-old daughter won't let me give her a kiss because I got the what's he call them, the itchies. I got the itchies.
Well, hang on there 2 seconds. I'm gonna say goodbye to you, brother. You just hang on, and thanks for being on 3 Point Firefighter.
Thanks, Jake.
Today's podcast was sponsored by Fire Facilities, designers and manufacturers of realistic, built-to-last training structures and mobile units for 30 years. Make training count. Visit firefacilities.com for more information.